I'm doing good. And yourself?
I am doing awesome.
Brilliant. Now, the reason that we're together, first of all, whenever there's a problem on Facebook, which there is, we both take a look at it. And you investigated last week, and I mean, it's very difficult to understand what Facebook
Yeah,
are doing, isn't it?
it very much so. You just never know. You wake up one day and something's changed, and it messes up a really good day.
It does. It does. Something worked yesterday doesn't work today, and
Right.
there is no advanced notification, is there?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was telling you before we went live, I was setting up a big live stream for the Jewish High Holy Days. And I had just set it up. I put it in this private group and done the whole thing. And I went into to do what I normally do, and that is to go to the video editing part of it. And that wasn't there. It was gone completely. And so I said, okay, well, I'll just go click the other edit button. And I started to edit, and like that, poof, as you use the word poof, it was gone. I mean, completely gone. And I was like, where did it go? I mean, literally, where did it go?
It vanished in a puff of smoke, and you think, well, what did I do? Did I press something? The first person you look at is yourself, okay?
Yeah, right.
And you sort of, as we were talking earlier, you start to get frustrated because you've not done anything untoward, and yet it's gone. And your first thought is, will this broadcast actually go ahead?
Yes.
Will it happen?
When you have guests on, especially when you have guests on, it's another thing if it's just you and it's frustrating all by itself. But when you bring people on from all around the world, as you do and as I do, and you've scheduled it and they've come in and you've done marketing for it, you've done social media, you've done everything, and you always have that, well, what if it's not going to work? Then what?
Well, we didn't know. I mean, when this all kicked off sort of 14 days ago, we had no idea. The post just vanished into thin air, and your first reaction is to say, I did something. So you go back, in this case, you go back to BeLive, you delete it, you delete it off Facebook, you delete it off YouTube, and you do it again.
Right.
And then you've got, it's a niggle now, because can you edit that post? So you edit that post again, and poof, disappears. And it's just, and you think, okay. And you've got to take a leap of faith then, haven't you?
You do. And, what I like to do is I actually have a private group that nobody knows about on Facebook. Nobody's in it except for me. And that's where I run all my tests. And because I'm not worried about people's putting comments up or their pictures and their names, it works fine. And I can go in and I can try to edit. If it doesn't work there, then I know that I can't do it somewhere else. And so I tend to test everything. I like to say I'm a hacker. I love to hack this stuff.
Indeed. And that's where everybody benefits. If you're watching us live now, thank you. If you'd like to make a comment, please do. Karen and I like to network and have a chat whilst we're discussing the topic. The topic, as you've probably guessed by now, is Facebook and what's been happening in the last couple of weeks. And we've got things that we like to sort of, we're frustrated. It's annoying. That's the bottom line. And the thing is, in this instance, I mean, you've got millions of people going live on Facebook every day.
Right.
And they make a change, and we know it doesn't affect everybody because they're testing it.
Right.
Okay. So you speak to somebody and they say, nothing's changed. So you then realize that you're a beta tester. You didn't volunteer, but you're a beta tester, and they're just trying it out with you. And I mean, it's an honor to be a beta tester, but it's also frustrating.
And it's a challenge, because they don't tell us that they're doing this, and it just happens. And they don't tell the third-party platforms like BeLive. BeLive, it does not have a hotline to Facebook, and when Facebook says, or they should, but when Facebook changes things, they don't call BeLive and say, by the way, we are changing some of the things that we're doing. So that basically leaves those third-party platforms like BeLive and all the other ones kind of in a lurch because they don't know the answer yet, because they don't even know it's happening. So what happens, Steven, is all of our live streamers out there, they go, it doesn't work. And they start blaming the third-party platform, which is not fair. It really isn't fair.
No, I mean, you'd be totally annoyed. You've paid to use BeLive, StreamYard, Restream, Zoom, and everything, and you've paid. You're a customer. You're their customer. You're not Facebook's customer, not in the paying sense. And if anything goes wrong, then the service provider, in this case, the video provider, should be able to fix it. But the thing is, they've not heard of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are things they can't fix because
it's outside their control. I mean, and the other thing about it is, if you sort of see what's going on and you tell BeLive or StreamYard what's going on, the first reaction is, well, it's just you. Yeah.
Right.
And it's not until 3 or 4, half dozen people say it's happened to me too, that you're taken seriously.
I tend to do screenshots now. I actually do, every time something like this happens, the very first thing that I do is I take screenshots of everything, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So I can literally, little arrows. It's what I did when I figured out, oh my gosh, we can go in here and do this now. I sent you a picture with an arrow saying, look, there's something there. And that's what I do now, right? We screenshot.
That's it. And that I said, well, if Caren can press that button, then I'm going to press that button too. So that's exactly what I did straight away. And we discovered from then that they'd actually made improvements, and now it makes sense. Right. You can still edit a post and it goes up in a puff of smoke, but you can now go into Creator Studio and you can cross post. So that's an improvement. We've got cross posting back. That came back when you found it, which was last Friday, wasn't it? Yeah. So that means we've got the functions that we actually need, because cross posting is important. A lot of the views of certainly the replays come from cross posting.
Right. And there was other little functionality in there in terms of things like the translations on there. I don't like to have them because they always spell my name wrong with a K. And so I turned them off. And by not having that until they brought it back, I had no control over that. And by the way, Steven, another thing that I noticed, because I watched your live yesterday, and you were talking about that you couldn't edit the content. I think it was yesterday. You can today.
Good. Well, that's another step forward. You know, I've got this theory. I often think they actually watch the videos, and so that's good. That's good. They should do. From a quality point of view as well, you know, I mean, they might be listening for keywords we don't know. Again, if you're watching Caren and I live, please say hello. And we don't bite, either of us. So we are very friendly. We're networkers. We've been, we've been firm friends since the days of Blab, which is now 5 years ago. Cool.
Oh my gosh, way back.
Way back. So this is. We understand that Facebook are making improvements,
right?
But there is a right and a wrong way to do this. We love things being enhanced so that we can do more. Yeah, we're all in favor of that. But as you said earlier, they've not been telling the video providers. If they could just give notice the video providers, providers could be proactive rather than reactive.
There you go, proactive.
Yeah, we say hello to Facebook user. Hello,
Facebook user.
Right, hello from Rosanna. Nice to meet you. You are watching in a group, which is absolutely fantastic. We can give you a link after this broadcast so that you can give permission to BeLive to show your picture and name. Yeah, but thank you for joining us. And Patrick is here as well.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing? Hello.
Nice to meet you. Right. Okay. So yeah, again, if you're watching like Patrick, our new friend, then just there we are. And we have hello from James Ziegler. Hello, Steven. You're one of my technology heroes.
You're one of my technology heroes too. You're the one who wrote the entire program, the entire class on Udemy on how to use BeLive, which is an amazing resource for anyone that starts this, right? Anyone who decides to jump in into the BeLive, which is my personal preference, but anyone who wants to learn how to do it, I encourage you guys, if you have not yet gotten Steven's class, first of all, it's free. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you very much. And I send people there all the time because you really walk them through from beginning to end, which is awesome.
Thank you, Caren. I'm blushing. And thank you, Jim. And thank you for joining us. And over to Patrick, and Patrick saying, great.
Yeah.
And Patrick again, and a question.
That's a good question. It's the answer is it's a challenge. There are some ways, but it's an art, not a science. As Steven, you know, this platform was not made as a music platform. This platform was made for the spoken word and for interviews and for people talking. So what it does is it compresses the sound. So for those of you who have tried, as I have, is to either having somebody singing to a track or singing to their guitar, you will notice that the actual instrument or the tracks drops out. It feels like what happened to the music? They're gone. It's compressed. It's a problem. It's a real problem. But there are some workarounds, and some of our Owen talks about some things that you can do. You can have a mixer that will bring in the two different things. However, even that is not a fail-safe way of doing things like that. So Patrick, you might want to go check out Owen's video. I can drop a link in there later, but he talks about another thing that you can add to your mixer. So you literally have a mixer and a mixer. The mixer is mixing one thing that then goes into your mixer and then it goes into the platform. But then he even says that he works on it as an art. So he tweaks it a little bit at a time till he gets it exactly right. If you have the time to do that, I encourage you to go give it a whirl, really. But right now, BeLive is not set up for that. So again, that's one of those things, Steven, that say it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Well, it doesn't because it's not meant to work with that.
No, it was, as you say, it was designed for speech. I mean, they have made one change in the last couple of months, which is rather than the audio being in MP3 format for the download, it's now in AAC. So the quality has slightly improved. But the situation is that it is not stereo. It's not the quality that you would expect. And when it comes to playing music over live video, if you've got more than one instrument, then the sync is a problem too. But in that regard, as Caren says, if you've got the mixers both sides, you can make adjustments. And the thing to do is just practice before you actually do a live. Practice a lot.
Practice a lot. So Patrick, I guess I misunderstood your question. You were saying original music is an MP3 that is to stream over the title slide of yes, you can definitely do that because again, it's coming in. What I would suggest you do with that is I would create a video around that, like a YouTube video, and put your music with a plain your actual screen, and play that, and then the music will actually play.
That's the simplest solution. I love that. Okay, and we've got a viewer in Sydney, Australia. So we say good morning and thank you for joining us. We're all right. Okay, and hello from Sydney, Australia. I'm a newbie and learning. We're all learning all the time.
Constantly.
Caren, you know this from experience, that the joy of live video is that there is something new virtually every week on one of the platforms. So there's always something new to be explored. And we're both techies and we both like looking at things and pressing buttons. So thank you for joining us. You are in for, this is probably a great time to actually get involved in live video, because now we've got high quality video. Right. And it's just, I know we're going to take it for granted, but for the moment that we can go out in 1080p is just awesome. And the next point is coming from Patrick, and I think you've answered it, but I was meaning have original music as MP3. I'd like to stream over the title of my weekly live show, like a show intro. Karen's suggestion is the simplest way to do it. Is the simplest by far. There is a caveat with music though. If it's your music, there's no problem. If it's copyright music, then you are running the risk of getting flagged. Now, there are in the background AI systems running, and they check all the music that's played on every single broadcast, and you can get flagged for having copyright music on. But if it's your music, there's no problem at all.
Unless you're published with your music and your publishing house has the AI in the background and they do a copyright claim. And as an example, I was producing my brother's show the other day. He has all original music, and they kept muting his songs out of his own show. So that's a challenge. YouTube does not do that. YouTube will give you a copyright claim, but they won't mute it. They just tell you you can't monetize it. Facebook totally mutes it. But there's a caveat to that, Steven.
Yeah.
If you upload a video onto Facebook, if you do an offline show in BeLive or whatever platform you're in, and you upload it to Facebook, they will come back to you if it's a song, and they might say to you, this is a copyrighted song. If you want to still play it anyways because it's yours, click here, and they'll let you do it, and the music will come back. If it's a live show, however, you're not given that option. They just mute you immediately. They say it is copyrighted, and you cannot even check a box to say, but wait, it's mine.
Yes, yeah, bit overzealous at times. I for my intros and outros, I license music from Jamendo, and even that got a claim, a copyright claim, until I was able to. I mean, you get a certificate, and you can actually say, okay, I've got the certificate, and this is the first few lines. And as soon as you mention a licensing house, then you're in the clear. And I actually won the appeal, which was even more amazing.
Awesome. Did you do it ahead of time though? Because this is good to know. Did you put in this ahead of time? Is there a way to be proactive on this? Because I have a lot of original music of my own, and I stopped using it because they kept shutting me down.
No, I don't know of a way of being proactive, but we can explore that question and see if we can find a way. And over to Jim, and Jim is saying, Steven has been an incredible coach, and instruction has greatly increased my business. Great to meet you, Caren. Caren, meet Jim. Okay, now Jim and I have been friends since 2005, since he came over to the UK, and he is a gentleman, and he is one of the best coaches that I know. And this is not nebulous ideas. Jim's in the auto industry and published in several of the auto magazines.
Okay.
And well, I'm selling you short, Jim. I do apologize for that, but I think if the two of you connected afterwards, then you could have.
That'd be great.
So that's networking. So there's your introduction.
Well, it's great to meet you, Jim. We will connect sometime after this show. I think this goes to the whole point of pivoting in this world that we're living in right now. It's a constant pivot, right? For those of us who have sat behind our desks for how many years doing live streaming, there's not that much of, at least for me, not that much of a difference. I'm still sitting in front of my computer. I'm still live streaming. This is how I do my work. But for so many people that are not, this is not their thing. They're learning how to pivot. And what that means is, how do you take your offline online, right? And do it this way. But you need to know how to pivot also in live streaming itself. So if Facebook does something like this, you need to have a plan B. You need to say, okay, it's not working, or Facebook has done something. I have no control over it. Give it up to a greater good. That's what I do. It's like, okay, I can't do anything, but what am I going to do in the meantime? So I was saying, one of the things that I do with all my shows up until 2 weeks ago, when this all came down, is that after I would schedule the show, I would go grab the embed code, because I do a show for kids, and most parents don't want their 3-year-olds on Facebook. They just don't. They don't want them on YouTube. They just don't. They're 3, okay? So I like to put the show on my website so that parents can go take their kids and watch it. But when I couldn't grab the embed code anymore, because it only does a post, it doesn't do the video, I was out of luck.
Yeah.
So pivot.
Yeah. We're still out to look at the moment. And just an update. You've got an update which just happened recently, Caren, on in Creator Studio, because I complained about it the other day, but you found that it's now fixed.
The embed code?
No, the being able to change things in Creator Studio.
You can, thank you. It's all because of you then, because now you can now edit in there and you can do all that other stuff, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to be able to edit the post, because with the best will in the world, when you're actually typing something into a tiny box, there's a chance you might misspell it, and you do want the ability to actually edit the text.
Right.
Because that text is part of the broadcast. You're actually telling people valuable information. When you do a post on Facebook, you need an image, as we all know, that's going to attract people, and you need the text as well.
Right.
So that people know what they're looking for. Because the more you getting a balance, isn't it, between just one sentence and writing a novel.
Right. And if you're simulcasting to YouTube at the same time as you're doing Facebook, there's different image sizes. There's different, the title would not be the same thing. I learned something from Fallon, that she does this really cool thing, and I started doing it, and that is, in place of the title of the show, I used to put the name of the show, I now have this call to action with, it says, click here to get a reminder, and that's in the title with a little arrow thing. And that works beautifully on Facebook, because the way Facebook interface works, you've got the image, you've got your description, and then you've got the title, which now says click here, telling them where to go. On YouTube, though, if you're simulcasting, that ends up in your title of your YouTube video, which makes absolutely no sense at all. So
yeah. As we said earlier, we're still learning. Things change on a daily basis, and there is no manual with this. No. There's no manual certainly for Facebook. That YouTube's pretty good on videos about running on YouTube, and a lot of people actually create content around how to get the best out of YouTube. And we're grateful to people like Brian Johnson, Nick Nimin, and of course to our very own BeLive, Owen Emsath, otherwise known as Owen.
It's great. Thank goodness for them. Truly, thank goodness for them, because it helps the learning curve for those of us who maybe don't do as much in YouTube or do more somewhere else. And it's a quick study, which is great.
It is. I love the videos. I mean, if you want a how-to video, then YouTube is the place to go.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And even for things around the house.
Absolutely. Google is the #1 search engine in the world.
Yeah.
The #2 search engine in the world is YouTube.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's owned by Google. So when you think about searching and you talk about video, here's just a little interesting fact. When you put static text up, less than 10 seconds, you're lucky if people will stay there for less than 10 seconds. If you put a video up, however, the studies and the data says that they can stay there for almost 2.5 minutes to watch this video. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot of time, does it? However, it's a whole lot longer than that 10 seconds. And so when you're doing a video on YouTube, guess what video? First of all, video shows up first in the search engines. And in a Google search engine, guess what kind of video shows up first? YouTube videos. So it would make sense that when you're doing your lives and your simulcasting from both Facebook and YouTube, that you make sure that you optimize it correctly, and make sure that you have correct call to actions. This is a totally off topic. Is there a way to broadcast into your channel? Yes. If you don't already have it identified and turned on, you want to make sure that you ask for it in chat and they'll turn it on. But basically, a couple of things, steps in advance. You want to make sure that your channel has been authorized to do live stream. That's quick enough to do. You go in there and you click on the live stream button, and it takes about 24 hours. Once you've done that, then you go into your BeLive dashboard and you just simply click on the 2 different things that you want it to stream to. You can identify the channel. I actually have 2 YouTube channels, so I have to log out of one YouTube channel and then log into the new YouTube channel. It's not a hard thing to do, and it makes a lot of sense. And you want to make sure that you can simulcast to both. You might have a different audience in YouTube than you do on Facebook. So, Steven, I know that you must be there because you just put the chat up there.
I'm still here. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that once you're in the BeLive studio, you created the post to Facebook. You've put all the details in. You've got the image, you've got the scheduled date and time, you've got the title, you've got the description. All that's done. So adding a YouTube channel is as
Right.
simple as clicking the YouTube button, deciding whether it's going to be public, unlisted, or private. That's it, done.
Right.
2 or 3 clicks and you're on YouTube, and you don't have to do anything else, because when you go live, BeLive creates the broadcast on YouTube and on Facebook relatively at the same time.
Like magic. It's like magic. It's really cool. It's a
It
great
is.
way to grow both things at the same time.
Yeah, and the other thing is you said earlier, Caren, is that being found is what this is all about, and being found by search engines is important. And you can, on YouTube, before you go live, the post is there. And this is just a note. Before you go live, the post
Right.
is on YouTube. Now, Caren mentioned earlier that YouTube's got a different setup than Facebook, totally different.
Totally.
And they believe that you should be able to promote the post before you go live.
Right.
Facebook have just changed their minds on that one. Right. So you can change the title, and on YouTube, title should be between 70 and 80 characters, and you should have at least one hashtag in there to get found. The other thing you can do is you've got a lot more text than BeLive that you have. So
Right.
you can put in the text, you can put links, you can put anything you want in the text. In fact, you can boilerplate, get a list of all your links and just cut and paste.
Exactly. Exactly. I keep a document on my desktop, and every
Right.
time I go in there, just copy and paste, copy and paste.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do is you can in advance set up the SEO tags so that you get found before you go live.
Right.
And that's priceless, because people can be searching for something and you're in the list of answers and it says live and it says the date and time you're going live, so people can set a reminder, and that's good. And the other thing you can do once we're on YouTube is you can create playlists. Now, if you're a regular broadcaster and you're actually broadcasting every week,
Right.
then you can set up a playlist for all the broadcasts you do for that show. That playlist is permanent. You can promote that playlist. It's got its own link. And
Right.
also, as you probably guessed now, what I'm going to say is you can add the scheduled video to that playlist, so anybody looking at the playlist will see that you're actually going live. Yeah.
Have you ever noticed it's frustrating? You go and you watch a video, and then
Yeah.
the next video is somebody else's, because the algorithms, the way they work is they go, oh, they were searching for something that the common denominator is this particular word. So they send you somewhere else. You alleviate that by putting your video in a playlist, because it will go to the next video on the playlist.
Right.
But wait, there's more. One other thing that you might want to do on your video, they have like end cards, and it's really easy. You do not have to be a coder. You do not have to be a rocket scientist, but you literally can go in there and say, at the end of my video, you can do, and you have to do this after the show has been live. So again, keep this in mind. It's for afterwards. You go in and you click, set up an end card, which means at the end of your video, you can say, go check out this video next, or subscribe to my channel. Right there. I mean, these are the things that Facebook doesn't have at this point, but that's okay. I mean, again, each platform has its own thing. So those are the things that I set up in advance, except for the end card, and that I go in after the fact.
Brilliant. Now, we started off on a rant, because rightly so, because what Facebook did over the last 3 weeks,
Right.
and we finished up on a positive note
Right.
with YouTube. And both, as Caren said, they've both got the strengths and they've both got the weaknesses. But if you are watching this video, and there's always an off chance, then I wish, and on behalf of all broadcasters, is that if you are going to make a change on the platform which affects everybody, then just drop a line to the video software houses and let them know in advance, so they can be proactive rather than reactive. Caren,
I agree.
It's over to you to close the show.
Steven, thank you so much for doing this. We don't get a chance to do this very often. I watch your shows all the time. You are the master at this. And I appreciate you putting these things together for all the broadcasters out there, because this is where we're all going. Whether we like it or not, this is where we're going. Video is here to stay. Live streaming is here to stay. It's how we decide we're going to use this. So go out and just have some fun with this. Really, just have some fun with this, and get to know the people that are in this world that we live in, and ask questions. There are no bad questions. There are just simply questions that maybe you don't have an answer to yet. So put it out there.
Shall we come back next month?
Sure, I'd love to.
Brilliant. Okay, so I echo everything that Caren said. Have a great rest of your day if you're on the Pacific coast. Enjoy the afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Good evening in the UK. Bye from us.